Good morning. So guys, I have a video here that we need to discuss. We need to clarify a lot of things, so stick with me through this video, guys, because we're going to be covering all kind of different aspects on this, and that is the ban of the AR-15. Society's thoughts, society's blaming, when they come for your guns, things that I've spoken about is that, you know, you can't take an M1 Abrams tank. I'm not saying don't stand for your rights. I'm just saying be smart about it. So let's go ahead and get into this video. So this morning I had the aid of my cell phone with me, so I went ahead and went on TikTok. Yeah. We do have an account on TikTok, guys, just helps promote the channel, but I decided to go check out what the general public, or I should say an echo chamber, is saying about the AR-15, the ban. As you guys know, there was another mass bang, another mass shooting. Yeah, and now the news headlines covering the individual was able to secure the AR-15 legally. I'm going to stress this out early in this video. Mental health. All right, we're going to break down these videos and my thoughts and things like that of that nature. But it's not the freaking gun's fault. All right, it's perfectly safe, sitting still, fully loaded. It's not going to kill anybody. It won't. The other individuals that put their on a trigger, that is the issue. It's mental health. I know people don't want to hear that. Of course not. So let's go ahead and get into this, guys. I am seeing more and more on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, the news, all this stuff. So let's go ahead and pop one up here for you guys. This is one. Just somebody comes out and starts talking they need to ban assault rifles and the AR-15. AR does not stand for assault rifle. It's Armalite. That's the abbreviation for the company that manufactures the rifle. Yeah, imagine that. But they have no freaking clue. They don't even know how to categorize what an assault rifle is. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into the little pop-up here. I want you to watch this.
What do you think AR stands for and like AR-15?
Assault rifles. So that's what I believe it stands for. Really mostly for gun control, because I believe that the main gun that is used during mass shootings is the AR-15s. And I personally want those off the streets. I want to ban them.
What gun control laws would you put in place?
A national assault weapons ban, because I only believe that AR-15 should be banned. I do not believe any other gun than that should be banned.
What about an AK-47?
That I think is assault weapons, but any other gun other than those two should not be restricted. If you do want AR-15 rifle, they wouldn't be completely banned. It's just that you would have to do more things to get it.
Do more things to get. Sorry. Do more things to get. Yeah, AR-15 when you go to purchase a firearm. Yeah, there is more things to get. Background checks, things like that, things of that nature. Yeah, I mean, what more stipulation do you need? I mean, I guess you're supposed to get a colonoscopy to see if you're working for the Russians or something. I have no idea. Maybe if you're a Trump supporter. Oh, dear God, no, you can't have one. It just goes to show the mentality of things, guys. Now, this wasn't that bad. Obviously, this individual is completely misinformed. He doesn't understand. He's being brainwashed by media that it's a ban on assault rifles. Well, yeah, I mean, as a civilian, unless you get special licensing, from my understanding, you really can't get an assault rifle. Can you? I don't know. Anyway, to the gun owners, I stand with you. Please don't take me wrong on this, but we do have more of these videos, and trust me, you're gonna get pissed. I got pissed as well, and I'm pissed off with you as well. But I want you to watch this And I want to provide everybody that's viewing here, preppers, gun owners, things like that. I want to give you suggestions, answers, things you can do to be prepared. All right. So I don't just try to show you headlines and stuff. I try to give you a reasoning behind it, what you need to be doing. So let's go ahead and get into this next. I'm just going to name them crackpots. That's what they are, crackpots. That's a nice way of putting it.
No, actually, what I'm telling you is that you are not John Wick. And once they put a ban on these things, it's going to make it that much harder for men like you who work at their dad's construction site somewhere that like to cosplay that they're Bruce Willis and Die Hard or some pathetic shit. That's what you guys are doing. You're cosplaying. You're living out some weird fantasy in your head where you're the hero with this piece of unnecessary machinery in your hand. It's literally no different than women watching romantic comedies and fantasizing about some unrealistic love they're never going to have. You don't need an AR to hunt. The only time you would ever need an AR is if you were in a war zone. The public educational system is not a war zone, not physically anyway, figuratively maybe.
Oh yeah, no, that right there is definitely a Karen. Okay, so I want to back up here. If you own an AR, you are just fantasy world John Wick, Bruce Willis. I'm sensing from this woman is that she does not like any form of masculinity at all anyway. And I'm not saying you just only men can own an AR. All right, I know a lot of women that carry ARs. They own them, they love them, they're really good at them. Here's one right here. Yeah, she's freaking awesome. But anyway, most people stockpile firearms. I won't say most, there's a large majority that are just gun collectors. There is a large majority that plays way too much modern warfare, modern war, whatever the video game is. All right? I'm not saying everybody. Now, I have spoken on this and I've talked about many times, just because you own an AR does not mean you're going to be the savior of the world. I kind of felt like maybe she had watched one of my videos and jumped on, like trying to agree with me on that. That's not what I'm saying. Because I also discussed you need to be training your body. You need to be going through tactical training. You need to learn how to operate as a unit, or if you're a lone wolf and sniper and whatever, you need to be able to push your body. Just owning it is not going to make you the end-all be-all Mad Max hero. All right, that's not going to happen. You're going to be roadkill is what's going to happen. And I apologize for those that you have no idea what I'm capable of. That's why I'm saying, do you know how to train? Are you training? All right. Are you pushing your body full kit through the woods? Are you pushing? Are you doing evasive tactics? Are you training? Or are you just sitting there, just leaning up against the wall and probably collecting dust right now, but you're pretty badass because you're a legend in your own mind? You need to be training. All right. Now, I know tactical training with an AR is kind of hard to do, as far as unless you got a nice range or a nice piece of property that you can operate on. Guys, even paintball, I know people don't hear that, or airsoft. At least you're learning tactical skills. The firearm being used, which that's not a firearm, paintballs and airsoft. But the tactics and maneuvering, cover, things of that nature, shooting from cover, that's the tactical training you need to be working on. Unless you plan on walking around with your plate carrier and think that you're invisible or invincible, quite possibly both, you need to be training. So anyway, I want to show Miss Karen there. I don't know who that TikToker is. I'm sure her name was up there. Just a Karen. And I know this is kind of a long video, but I want to cover this stuff and actually look at it. All right. This one here is talking about being able to pick up her kids and all that stuff, hug them after the shootings and stuff. I don't know where her location is. Is she, or where her kids at this school? I don't know. Or from what I've also seen with the liberal-minded individuals and the poor me on the internet, is that people across the country will start posting videos. I got to hug my kids today. Yes, it was the shooting. But they weren't even near the shooting. They're on the other side of the country, but they're making it all about them again. So anyway, like I said, I don't know. Her kids might have been in that school. I don't know. Let's go ahead and play this.
Hey, I'm just sitting here getting ready to go pick up my 9 and 10-year-old from school today. I'm lucky enough to be able to go pick them up and hug them again. After yesterday's shooting in Nashville, it just made me think, if we banned AR-15s and other assault type rifles, like we are gonna ban TikTok, wouldn't it make more sense to ban guns that are killing innocent children than to ban an app that people can choose to put on their phone if they want to? Just some food for thought.
Okay. Comparing guns versus TikTok apps. I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole. It's the Trojan horse, yada yada, whatever. All right, but TikTok does have the uses. You get to figure out how stupid people are around you. But the guns, again, are killing people. No, it's not the gun. It's not the firearm. It is a piece of inert machinery until an individual picks it up and puts that booger picker on it. Until they put that finger on that trigger, it is an inert piece of machinery. There's no power to it, nothing. It will sit there, and it will sit with a fully loaded magazine to the end of times without ever going off. Well, as long as you don't have anything in the chamber. So again, the firearm, which brings me to one of the biggest Karens. This woman's talking about statistics, reading an article, and then there was enough people to get killed during this time I finished this article. It's like they act like it's a constant pandemic plague of people being murdered in the streets of America with AR-15s. And that's what they're acting like. Here we go.
This is the best and worst article I have ever read. Washington Post got the consent from two parents whose young sons were taken from them, from killers with AR-15s, with illegally purchased guns. And they walk through how those effects differ from other types of weapons. I had to keep pausing to cry, and I still feel like I got through it pretty quickly. And about the same time, it took somebody in Texas to kill 26 people. If you are for keeping AR-15s, if you are for allowing irresponsibility around guns, you are for making it very easy to kill a lot of people really quickly. If you disagree, at least read the article.
Okay, I want to discuss something right fast. One, the blast effect. You see it on the background behind her. The blast effect on this. I've been noticing the uptake on this. Everything from Joe Biden talking about blowing out someone's lungs with an AR-15 to other memes and photos being pushed and posters and stuff with the damage, the holes at AR-15. I've seen this one that's about the size of a soccer ball. I'm like, what? I got photos for you here. Back here, it took 6 minutes and 55 seconds to read the page. It took approximately 8 minutes for the shooter to kill 26 people. Now, this is in Sutherland Springs, Texas. I'm not downplaying the deaths of individuals. I'm not. What I am addressing is that it's the gun's fault. Anybody that knows firearms, you can do the same amount of damage with a shotgun, a single shot rifle, a handgun. Depends on how well you've been training with your firearms. Yeah. An AR is not a fully automatic weapon. People actually, there's been plenty that are talking about mowing down people. It's not you hold the trigger and just start shooting like crazy. But I also want to address, if you are allowing irresponsibility, you nailed that one on the head, Karen. Irresponsibility. This is given the ability of mentally issued individuals. I'm trying to watch how I say this. People with mental health issues. psychotic, psychosis, whatever. They're not right in the head. Giving them access to firearms is the biggest issue. It's not the gun. And it's not the inert piece of machinery. Now, of course, in this one, they also mentioned that they were legally obtained. Yeah, it should be your constitutional right to purchase a firearm. They keep on talking about stronger gun laws. And I'm not going to, I know people want me to screw up and say this, and I'm not going to. They want me to say, if you have a mental health issue, you should not be allowed to get a firearm. But this, and I've spoke to this with a couple other people, this is an opening for them. Let's say that you're diagnosed with depression or anxiety or something. Technically, that's a mental health. Does that mean that you should not be allowed to have a firearm? In my opinion, no, it does not mean that. But I believe the government is pushing this so that we all run on there and say, if you got mental health, blah, 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 you can't have one. And then they'll come out with a mental health grab. All right? To me, a mental health issue with the firearms would be people with psychosis, split personalities, people that have some severe stuff and they're on some serious psychotropic medication. You don't need to be, you can't even operate a vehicle. You shouldn't be allowed to operate a firearm. All right? But that is a whole catch-22 because technically you have the right to bear arms. So, I'm going to leave that one up to you guys. That's my feelings on this. I think there could be some type of screening process for people that are completely freaking nut jobs should not have access to it. But then again, I am now infringing on Americans' rights. Correct? So it is a slope right there. Do you allow some infringement? Or do you say, no, we have a right, screw you? But my biggest thing is it's mental health. All right? It's besides just mental health, it's their upbringing. If you got somebody raised in the Aryan Brotherhood, what do you think's going to happen? All right? Or something along those lines, some radicalized group. What do you think's going to happen? Yeah, they're going to pick up a bang bang. So, right fast, guys. I do have, where's that? Oh, here we go.
If a 9mm can do this, imagine what an automatic rifle 15 can do.
All right, this is what one 9mm bullet can do to 26 inches of armor. Lungs don't stand a chance. You don't need to know how they work to see the damage they do. Oh my God. That, ladies and gentlemen, is, well, one, is not created by a 9mm. That actually looks like a piece of artwork to me. But if that is actual armor and an impact round, I would say that probably came out of a naval vessel or what's been left after a naval vessel fired upon armor. I'm talking big rounds. Not an AR-15, let alone a 9mm. But this is some of the stuff we've been seeing a lot of. Let's see here. I do have another photo for you. This is the size of a hole made by an AR-15. Tell me again why you would need that. What the? That is not the size of a hole of an AR. An AR impact round, I can't even make my hands small enough. Well, that's close. This is actually just a little too big. All right, down the shaft, that hole. That's about the impact hole, entry hole of an AR-15. Now, depending on what the AR-15 hits, spins, busts apart, whatever, depends on what the exit wound may be. If it doesn't shatter bones and grabs hold of and makes a larger exit wound, you're going to have pretty close to the exact same exit wound. The AR-15, the round is super fast. It zips in, zips out. What causes the most damage is that impact. Should be a nice little pop-up there. If I found it, let's say you're doing shots at gel ballistic shots. You can see the force in it. That's what actually causes the most of the damage. But these people don't have a freaking clue of what they're talking about. None. So, here, I mean, I'm just gonna let you.
And get your response to some of the arguments that Republicans are making now about the push to ban semi-automatic weapons. One of the things they're saying is that there are 25 million of these devices out there in circulation in the homes of millions of Americans, and therefore you can't ban them. What's the president's response to that?
That's unacceptable. That's our response. It's unacceptable that Republicans are saying that there's nothing that we can do. Our schools, our churches, our places of worships have now become deadly places for many Americans who have lost their lives just this past year. So I asked Republicans, what are you going to say to the families in Nashville at this elementary school who lost their loved ones? 3 kids, 3 adults, 3 9-year-olds. Is that what they're going to say to them, that there's nothing else that we can do? You're going to say that to the Uvalde families, the parents? There's nothing else that we can...
Again, I'm not taking away from the loss of life. This is horrible. Here's an idea. Put the blame on the responsible party. Yeah. See, something I learned as a child and then growing into adulthood. You are responsible for your actions. You are responsible for your words. Yeah. Why is it now the victim is also the shooter? And this is complete horseshit. Okay? The people that lost their lives is a horrible thing. Horrible. It should have never happened. But it is not an inert machinery fault. It is that person that went in, premeditated to kill, to cause havoc. Whether he had an AR or she had an AR, a handgun, a baseball bat. You can cause a lot of deaths with the baseball bats. Yeah. A hammer, a knife. Well, they would have been able to overpower. You know, as soon as something bad happens, all I ever see people do is scream like little bitches and curl up in a fetal position. Yeah, if you're wearing a man bun, I'm speaking to you. This is what I'm talking about. The pussification of American men and women. You know, we used to be a very prideful nation. We used to work hard. We used to play hard. We didn't let snowflake mentality dictate our lives. We didn't let transgender bullshit on the beer commercials. This country is going to get its ass kicked really quick. I don't want a global conflict. I don't want to go to World War III with Russia and China. Who the hell do we have that's going to be defending this nation? A bunch of generals wearing miniskirts and high heels? Lipstick? Now I've got another one for you. This here, I actually enjoyed this TikTok here.
Why you don't hunt with an AR-15 with a deer? Because there's nothing left.
Education time. This is a 5.56 round. It's typically what's fired from an AR-15, which derives its name from Armalite, the company who originally introduced the sporting platform, or as you and the mass media continue to propagandize, a scary, mean weapon of war. This next one is a 30-06 round. It's an actual weapon of war first introduced to the U.S. military services in 1909 and is a popular caliber today amongst hunters for taking down game such as whitetail deer. It's also found in the same configuration as AR-15. That's right, a shoulder-fired, magazine-fed, semi-automatic rifle. Next one's also in the same configuration, a magazine-fed, semi-automatic, shoulder-fired weapon platform. It is a Barrett 50 cal, and it's popular for, well, funsies mostly. One of these is only considered by the mass media as a scary weapon of war. This little fellow over on the end. What's this really about? Propaganda and control, or protecting our communities? All 3 of these can be
propaganda and control. Exactly. Now guys, I want to take the time right fast and go over some thought process with you. Again, when I say if you got an AR-15, you're going to take on the world, I'm trying to get people to get off their ass and start training, start preparing. Get your body in shape for what is coming. Just because you own one does not mean you're going to be able to do jack shit, except maybe being a target. All right? We've done We've done videos on a damn 22 round, should be up there for you, ripping through a mocked up wall. A wall in your home, just right on through. It's a 22. Everything is handguns, everything we threw at it went right through it. Shotguns, everything. Yeah, so you got to be working on your body. I know people don't want to hear that, but the fact is you need to be working on your body. You need to be training with this. So when I say you're not going to be able to take on an M1 Abram, people get all twisted over that. Well, I'm not going to lay down. Listen, guys, should be some photos there for you. This is police. Now, many people will agree or disagree with me on this, that the police will enforce rules and regulations, or they will tell the government to F off. My opinion, they'll roll in on you. Just like what happened with the whole mandatory arm jab. A lot of people had to lose their jobs because they refused to do it. So that is, bye. Firemen, all that stuff, bye. So what do you think is going to happen when they start coming door to door for your shit? Oh, they're going to stand up with us. Or are they going to bring an armored carrier through your home? This is one of the things I talk about when I say just because you have an AR does not mean that you're going to be able to defend everything. You have to have a bug out plan. Now, do I believe in fighting when you can? Yes, but you're going to have to do guerrilla tactics. You're not going against all these guys, because the fact is these guys are armed just like you. And they have better support teams. But you can be in your house doing your pop shots. Granted, I know no one wants to hear it, but those bullets will be ripping through your walls. But let's just say they don't. They will drive that thing right into your home. You have to have a bug out plan. Get groups together. Now, the other photo should be there. I've never actually seen this thing used, and it's a SWAT vehicle, supposedly. It's a six-wheeler. I've never seen it used except for movies and, well, movies. That's it. That's the only time I've ever seen that. So I don't know if that's actual police issue armor. Okay. The other one is, and it will roll through your house. Oops, sorry. What I want you to do, well, you do whatever you want to. My recommendation, with all this stuff going on, guys, they are going to continue to push the removal of Americans having the availability to own a firearm. You know, all they got to do is make it so that you can't buy ammunition. You know, ammunition is not covered in our constitutional rights. Stock up or learn how to manufacture your own. Good idea. Trust me, I know it takes a lot. All right. I recommend learning how to make your own reloads and stuff like that. Get the materials that you need for it. When it comes to firearm protests and all that stuff, guys, that's up to you. You just make yourself a bigger target for the federal government to roll in, because, oh yeah, I remember that guy. We got photos of him and video of him at this protest. You know what? He might just be our next fall guy. That's entirely up to you. Protests, running around, screaming and hollering, doesn't do jack, in my opinion. All it does is just shows this great division, adds another distraction on what they're doing. But that's my opinion. I agree, protests might work on some things. This is something we as preppers know is coming. It doesn't matter how many protests are going on. We prep for a reason. We know this is going to get implemented. Firearms will be taken. Now, the question is about the AR-15. Why do you need that? The sole purpose is to kill. Every firearm, sole purpose, designed by nature, by creation, is to kill. Dumbass. Seriously. It's not designed to look at. It's designed to send a freaking piece of lead super fast at a target and destroy it. That's what it's designed for. Everything from a shotgun, handgun, hell, even a BB gun. Designed as a weapon to kill. The reason why people don't use AR-15s for deer hunting is because there's nothing left. That's not true. The reason why most people don't use AR-15s to deer hunt is because the round is going so fast. We are worried about the backdrop. All right? In other words, the round zips right through that sucker and might hit something down there. That's why we don't. Compared to like when I used to hunt all the time, I'd use a 30-06 or a 30-30 or a 7mm. It's a large fat round. That way I know when my impact hit, it's going to spin that sucker around in the ground and drop. It's not going to keep on traveling. That bullet's going in and it's going to do some damage. It's going to bounce around, tear some shit up. That's why. That's why most people don't use an AR-15, because it zips through. As a responsible gun owners and hunters, they don't want that bullet traveling through and hitting something in the backdrop, like another hunter, a house, things of that nature. So you might want to get your story straight before you start coming up here and talking shit. This is all by design, ladies and gentlemen. If you have your bangs, don't give them up. You know, I saw people cut up firearms and all that stuff, bending them up and all that stuff. Guys, don't do that. Let them disarm themselves. Besides having the right to bear arms, we have a right to keep our government in check. And that is also part of why we have the right to bear arms. Because if you have an unarmed nation, they can't keep the government in check. No, that right there is now called domestic terrorism. But that is actually actual. That's why we have that right to own firearms. It's to keep politicians and government in line. Now, today's society, we're not in charge of anything. Whatever the government says is what's going to happen, or else they're going to lock you up or take you out. That's where it is today. And that's why I keep pushing on prepping. We got some major shit coming down our roads. You need to be ready for it. This conflict between Russia, Ukraine, NATO, China, when this pops, it's going to be bad. I don't see America being America after this. Now, it still might be the United States of America, but it's not going to be what it was. It's going to be you that has to take care of your family, provide for your family. Just be ready. This war against the ARs is just starting. It's not over. And it's going to continue to get worse and worse. They will not address why it is happening. Mental health. Incorrect upbringing. That's why. Not being responsible for your actions. All right, guys, I appreciate you hanging out with me. I know there's going to be a lot of people pissed at me, and that's fine. Here on this channel, I try to speak from my heart what I know, and we try to show you what we do. Just be ready, guys, but please hear me on this. Just because you own one does not mean you are invincible. You need to be working on your body. You need to be training with that. That tool is a tool. You need to be training with it. You know, when I hear people all the time, I think having knowledge is the best survival skill ever. It's great having knowledge, but unless you know how to implement that knowledge and actually get your hands on it and make it happen, I just grab a piece of electronics. I don't know why. Make it do what it needs to be done or create it. You can have all the knowledge in the world. I know a lot of book smart people. I see that in my trade all the time. They sit at a desk, they draw up a whole bunch of bullshit. This is how it's done. I look at the print going, that's not going to work. You didn't figure in shrinkage of steel due to heat, warpness. I'm looking at it right now. I know that if you extend half-inch flat bar over 12 foot, it's going to have a 3-foot drop. And you're just going to stick it out there like it's going to be something just standing out there. You know, anyway, it doesn't matter. Just because you have knowledge of things does not mean you are secured and safe. You need to be able to implement it. The problem is, too many people want to tell other people what to do. They want to go, they actually believe during shit hits the fan, they are going to have people come in droves to hear what they have to say and learn from them. Now they're going to come take your shit because they know that you're a pansy. Because you don't know how to do it. You can't do anything. That's what's going to happen. All right, guys. Speak to y'all later.